Hi. Smash Brothers! Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex Cuff and this is Off the Cuff. Today I'm bringing you a video that I hinted at last time in my Inkling prediction video. I am going to be going through my ideal roster for the upcoming Super Smash Bros. Game. Once again, I'd just like to clarify that this isn't what I think the final roster will end up looking like in the slightest. There are going to be so many things on this list that are just dead wrong. This isn't so much a prediction video as it is what I would do to the roster if I had full creative control. And as you can see, I've actually got quite a lot of slots open. There's a lot of characters I'd put into this list. The Switch can handle it, it's a good console. I'll be detailing the veterans first, the returning characters, and then I'll go into more depth on the newcomers. If I've got more things to say about the certain veterans, I'll include those thoughts, but I don't have things to say about all of the characters, so I'll be skipping past a lot of them. A couple of things before we begin. I don't know everything about every Nintendo game ever made. There are things I don't know about half the characters in the list. Never played a Zelda game. Never played a Fire Emblem game. Never played a Donkey Kong game. Well, I played the first bit of Tropical Freeze. I should really get back into that. Never played a Star Fox game. Never played a Metroid game. Never played a Pikmin game. Barely played any of the Mario games. Just keep in mind that my knowledge isn't the best, and I'll mainly been going off of characters that I do know. Also, when I announce each character, I'll be doing a little thing. In Smash Bros., every character has a victory theme. Well, no, more accurately, every franchise has its own victory theme. And certain characters get their own unique ones. I'll be doing a thing where I give every single character their own victory theme. That's just something that I think could be cool to add in. I don't think they will add it in, I hope they will, but that's just what I do, so I'm doing it. And I'll also be pointing out when and if certain characters have alternate costumes that change up the character completely. You'll understand that as I list the characters, but let's get right into it. And starting with the characters that have already officially been confirmed. So of course we've got Mario. And of course I'd have Dr. Mario as a costume. But I think it'd be cool to kind of pull an Odyssey and just have a whole bunch of different Mario costumes. Like the Super Mario Maker version of Mario, or the Sunshine Mario with the sleeves rolled up. In short, and just in general for the alternate costumes, I'd like them to not just switch up the colour palette, but also just pull references from other games. That doesn't seem like too big a thing to ask for, right? Then we have Link. Who is, of course, in his Breath of the Wild aesthetic, but I'd also keep the Twilight Princess one as an alternate costume. And we have the Inkling. With, of course, the Inkling boy as an alternate costume, that's definitely in. And as I said in the Splatoon video, I'd like to see Callie and Marie in there as well. Probably won't get them, but, you know, it's nice to dream. Alright, let's rapidly go through all the veterans. Here we go. Donkey Kong. I don't think I have anything to say about that. It's Donkey Kong, so let's move on. Yoshi! And what I think would be cool is to have the Woolen Yoshi from Yoshi's Woolly World as a separate costume. That would just be fun to see. Samus. Kirby. And just like Woolen Yoshi, I'd throw in Yarn Kirby from Kirby's Epic Yarn. Might be a little difficult with the see-through aspect, but it would be so cute. Come on, do it please, Nintendo. Make it happen. Thank you. Fox. And I don't know much about Star Fox, but I'd throw Crystal in as an alternate skin. Personally, I don't think that Crystal could have a varied enough moveset to be considered her own character in the roster. There's already so many Fox clones out there. Best not to add another one. Pikachu.
And this one is really just for fun, but as one of Pikachu's alternate costumes, I'd have Detective Pikachu in there. The moveset doesn't change up, nothing changes, it doesn't even call it Detective Pikachu, but it just runs around and has the voice. That would be just hilarious. And it's something I think Nintendo will definitely do. Yes, I want it so badly. Do it.
Luigi. Ness. And again, the Mother series isn't my forte, but I'd throw Ninten in as an alternate costume as well. Just based on what I've seen, they look kind of similar, so throw them in together. Captain Falcon. And by the way, the app I was using bugged out here, so that's why some of the icons changed. Isn't too big a deal, but still. And I'm throwing Blood Falcon as an alternate skin. I experimented with adding a whole nother F-Zero character, but I don't see how that's possible considering they're all just racers, and it was difficult enough to give Captain Falcon his own moveset, as far as I'm concerned, so best to keep him as the only F-Zero representative. And Jigglypuff, of course. In some cases, the victory themes won't be note for note what I've got in here, but if they can remix Ness's victory theme from that game, then they should be able to remix a lot of different themes, including this one for Jigglypuff. Peach. And Smash 4 already had the Daisy colors as an alternate costume, but I just flat out call it Daisy. There's no difference. Bowser. Throw in Dry Bowser as an alternate skin just for fun. Dry Bowser was my character in Mario Kart Wii, so throw him in there just for me. Again, this is what I do. Zelda. And I'm not sure if they'd use her Breath of the Wild design for that, but if they did, I'd still keep the current design as an alternate costume, and I'd even go back to the old Ocarina of Time one from Melee. Pop that in as an alternate costume as well. Sheik. Ganondorf. Falco. But please, with a completely new Final Smash, pop him in an R-Wing for a Final Smash, please, because he prefers the air. Give him an R-Wing. Come on. Mewtwo. Marth. And I'd chuck Lucina in as an alternate costume there. One as regular Lucina and one with the mask. Roy. He's our boy. The Ice Climbers. Gotta have the Ice Climbers return. The only reason they weren't in the previous game is because the 3DS hardware couldn't handle it when 4 pairs of Ice Climbers were on the field at the same time. But as far as I can tell, the Switch version isn't going to be compatible with 3DS, so chuck them back in. Mr. Game & Watch. And this character definitely doesn't exist, but I think it'd be fun to see a Mrs. Game & Watch as well. Get on that. Diddy Kong. Toon Link. Zero Suit Samus. King Dedede. Meta Knight. Wolf. I'd chuck Wolf back in with a revamped moveset, if not just because I'd like to see more villains in the roster.
And in the spirit of adding more villains, I'd also chuck in Panther. With a revamped moveset, I think it could work, and his design is cool. So yeah.
Charizard. Lucario. Lucas. Ike. And to make a couple of my friends happy, throw Crom in as an alternate costume. Pit. And have Dark Pit as an alternate costume. Dark Pit as an alternate costume, not its own character on the roster. Dark Pit could never have worked as its own character on the roster without just being a clone. It's already a clone of Pit in-universe. How could it have not been anything more than a clone character in Smash Brothers? Idiots. Olimar? And from Pikmin 2, I'd throw Louie in as an alternate costume. Alf's not returning because, well, you'll see. Wario. And I love that the overalls are a different costume. I'd definitely keep that. Rob. Snake. If they could work this out, I'd love to see Snake return. Just come on. It's Snake! I'd love to hear the encounter theme back in Smash Brothers. And if possible, I'd throw in Big Boss. Or even Raiden as alternate costumes. And Old Snake as well. Just work it out. Please. Whoever owns Metal Gear Solid at the moment, please make this happen. Come on. Sonic. And at the moment he's only in the game as an assist trophy, but bugger that. Pop Shadow in as an alternate costume. Shadow the Hedgehog is my favourite character in the Sonic universe completely, so I'd love to be able to play as him. Bowser Jr. And I'd keep the Koopalings as alternate costumes, but I also would like to see some palette swaps of all 8 of the characters. It was kind of lame that they didn't get their own palette swaps. Like I mentioned earlier that I don't like just having the palette swaps as alternate costumes, but when each of your custom outfit slots is just its own different character, that kind of takes away, especially when you can make Bowser blue. Give each of the Koopalings and Bowser Jr. at least one palette swap, and that'll make me happy. Rosalina and Luma. Greninja. Robin. And definitely the female version of Robin as an alternate costume. Corrin. But I'd make the female version of Corrin the default one, since according to Hyrule Warriors, female Corrin is the canon version of Corrin, and I'd make male Corrin an alternate costume. Palutena. Villager. And definitely keep the different gendered villagers in. That's a good thing. Little Mac. And the wireframe design I would keep, but I don't think I'd make it as plentiful as it was in the Wii U version. With all of the Little Mac skins having representatives in the wireframes, it felt very weird that Little Mac was the only character to get 16 different custom outfits in the last game. Spread it out a bit, you can make it happen. Wii Fit Trainer. And definitely keep the male Wii Fit Trainer as an alternate costume. Shulk. Oh, that victory theme is so cool. The Duck Hunt Duo. Mega Man. Pac-Man. And someone please tell me why Ms. Pac-Man wasn't a different costume for Pac-Man in the last game. That needs to happen. Pac-Man's alternate costumes were so disappointing in the previous game. Spice it up a bit. Throw Ms. Pac-Man in there. Come on. Ryu. And I'd chuck Ken in as an alternate costume as well. They're practically the same person. Cloud. And definitely keep his Advent Children costume in. Bayonetta. And keep the Bayonetta 1 design as an alternate costume. The Bayonetta 3 design might even become the default. I don't know what the Bayonetta 3 design is. It might be completely different, might not be, who knows. And the Mii Fighters. And that's it for the veterans, so we've just got the newcomers to come. I'll have to go into more depth on these, so get ready. The first newcomer is Paper Mario. I originally had Paper Mario as just an alternate costume for Mario, but the Paper Mario games are so different than the regular Mario games. I feel like it's different enough to warrant its own roster slot. But I'd throw Paper Mario in there. I think that'd be cool. I'm not sure what the moveset could be. I haven't played many Paper Mario games, but definitely using the hammer and other Paper Mario things could be cool. And also, if not just because I don't know what other Mario character you could throw in that encompasses the entire Mario series. kill her. Next up, King K. Rool from Donkey Kong. This goes back to me wanting more villains in the roster, but I just love King K. Rool's design. It's so unique. I really want to see him in there. Put more villains in. Come on. Villains are cool. I want to play as the villain. Do it. Next up, Urbosa from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Originally I had Lincoln from Hyrule Warriors because of the dual-wielding crossbows. I thought she looked really cool in that reveal trailer. But it seems more likely they'll put in a Breath of the Wild character, mainly one of the champions. And after research, it seems like Urbosa's the universally popular one, so throw her in there. That'd be cool. I need to play Breath of the Wild before I make my final opinion on the matter. But for now, Urbosa. Keep her in there. Next up, Bandana D from Kirby. I used to hate this idea. I used to hate it. So what, we're going to give a roster slot to the World 1 enemies that you should be able to kill without worry? We're going to give a slot to a Goomba now? But it seems like lately, Bandana D's become Kirby's mainstay for the 4th Kirby character that lasts throughout the entire series. Anytime they have a multiplayer Kirby game, Bandana D is the 4th character that's available to play as. And yeah, it looks like it'd be really cool. You could do some interesting stuff with the spear. I don't know if any of the other characters in the roster are spear wielders. So, yeah. And also just because it would be the smallest character in the entire game, maybe excluding Olimar. But, come on. I've come around on the matter. Put Bandana D in. Do it. Next up, Decidueye from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Pokemon Sun and Moon were huge games. I mean, huge games. They sold amazingly well. And of all the Pokemon from Sun and Moon to add in, Decidueye seems like the most likely one they'll do. And it's not just because it's the starter I chose in the game. Not only does it fill out the Fire, Water, Grass core of the starters that we've got going in, Charizard Fire, Greninja Water, Decidueye Grass, but of the 3 starters in Pokemon Sun and Moon, Decidueye was the universally most popular one. And that was by a poll on the Pokemon Twitter page, not just me playing favoritism. And come on, I just really want Decidueye's final smash to be Sinister Arrow Raid, its unique Z move. Of the 3 starter Z moves, Sinister Arrow Raid is by far the best one. Incineroar just does a belly flop and Primarina makes a bubble go around, but come on, this is just cool. This is just, look at this, look at all this destruction. You can't tell me you don't want to do this to Bowser. Come on, you know you want to do it. Make it happen, Nintendo. Put Decidueye in. Especially because it's not looking like we'll get Generation 8 before Smash Bros. Comes out. It seems like if they're going to add a Pokemon from anywhere, it'll be from Sun and Moon. Next we have Porky from Earthbound. Specifically Mother 3, I think. This just goes back to me wanting more villains in the game. More villains. Come on, do it. Do it, villains. Add the villains. Do it. But I just love the design of Porky's mech. It was in Subspace Emissary. This is so cool. And if that's too big for the stage, you could just have Porky running around doing stuff and then have the mech as the final smash. Again, I haven't played an Earthbound/Mother game ever, but it's Porky. I want him in. Villains. 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 Next, Hades from Kid Icarus Uprising. Villain. It's a villain. I can't stress this enough. Also, come on, look at that design. Look at it. It's just so menacing. You can't tell me Ganondorf wouldn't be afraid of that. They'd be afraid of each other, or they'd have a mutual respect. I want to figure out who's the biggest bad. Granted, I've never played Kid Icarus Uprising, but I want Hades in the game. Make it happen. Next up, Alf from Pikmin 3. And also from Pikmin 3, I'd throw Brittany and Charlie in as alternate costumes. At first glance, this may seem like kind of a weird one to give Alf his own roster slot, but this is mainly because I actually worked out a completely different playstyle from Olimar. So instead of having the Pikmin follow Alf around, they all cling to his body, and each attack corresponds to a different Pikmin, instead of the attack being whatever Pikmin is following you next in the line. And each Pikmin has the same effects that it has with Olimar, but this allows for more of a strategy. And for special moves, you could have Pikmin like the Rock Pikmin come in, Pikmin that everyone wanted to see added into Olimar's moveset last time, but never happened. I don't know, it could be cool. We'll see. Next up, Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'd have these guys as a tag team because that seems to be their whole gimmick in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I've also seen clips of their combat online from the game, and it looks really interesting. I think it could translate well to Smash Brothers. Next we have Dylan from Dylan's Rolling Western. Bit of an obscure one, but of the new characters there aren't many, and I love Dylan's design. I'd definitely upgrade him from an assist trophy. I've actually thought of a really unique mechanic for Dylan. Attacks that land on his back do barely any damage at all, but attacks on his front do a lot of damage. The payoff for this is that Dylan never attacks anyone that's behind him and can only attack from the front. So Dylan's more of an all-in kind of person. If you want to attack, you have to expose your biggest weakness. Could be cool. I kind of like that idea as well, so I don't know. It seems like Nintendo is really pushing Dylan as well because they're releasing a new... Is it a racing game? I have no idea. But I've always wanted to play a Rolling Western game, and Dylan looks like a cool character. I'd love to see him in Smash as a fighter. Fossil Fighter from Fossil Fighters. Yeah, that says Hunter, I know, but it's the best I could do with the icons that are currently in the roster maker. This one's mainly for the dinosaur aspect of it. I really love dinosaurs, and I really want to see a Final Smash where he just summons a dinosaur that rampages across the screen. That would be nice to see. But again, Fossil Fighters is one of those franchises that really deserves appreciation in Smash Brothers. It's been around for a while, it's had a lot of iterations, and I think it deserves its spot. Next, Chibi Robo. This one may seem like a bit of a weird choice, but I really like the idea of this glorified desk lamp going toe-to-toe with Ganondorf. That's the main reason Chibi Robo's in. It's just for fun. The fun factor. And coming back to that, Smash Bros. Has a tradition of having at least one joke character in every time. We had Jigglypuff, Game & Watch, Wario, Duck Hunt Duo. Everyone thought it was Wii Fit Trainer, but it was Duck Hunt Duo. And it makes sense to have at least one joke character added to this roster as well. But Chibi Robo isn't my joke character. That one's still to come. Next we have Wonder Red from the Wonderful 101. Admittedly, of all the characters in the roster, this one is just a placeholder. This one is in here mainly because I don't know every Nintendo game ever, but I do know Wonderful 101, and Wonder Red just looks like a cool character to add in. After all, the entire series got recognition in Smash Bros. Wii U in the form of the trophies, so they could easily add them in. But if once characters start getting revealed, I have to drop stuff from my roster, it would be Wonder Red. Just keeping that in mind. If he gets announced, then I'll act like it was always my intention to keep him. But as it is, I don't think it's likely, so again, this one is the most we'll see out of everyone. Next, Springman from ARMS. Nintendo has pushed ARMS so much for the Switch. It was basically the Switch's launch title, apart from 1-2 Switch, but I don't see a 1-2 Switch character getting in. And come on, Springman's method of fighting would be so fun in Smash Brothers. Just from one side of Final Destination. That'd be cool. But the trade-off is that the further away the character is, the more time they have to dodge. So do you charge at launch, or do you just go for the punch? Be interesting to add in. And I'd also throw in Ribbon Girl as an alternate costume. I wouldn't put Ribbon Girl as an alternate character slot altogether, because aesthetically both characters look very similar. And as it stands, Springman's moveset wouldn't be 100% what his character is in ARMS anyway. He would be the character that represents all of ARMS. So in that sense, it makes sense to throw Ribbon Girl in, even though it wouldn't be a one-to-one of what she is in the game. It wouldn't be a one-to-one of what Springman is either. That's just what I do. If I was going to add in any other ARMS character in future games, it'd probably be Helix. That guy is just freaky and completely different than anything else in the game. Next up we have Party Phil from the Wii Party series. Yeah, this one's my joke character. This one's just here for the funny factor. I want this guy to beat the ever-loving stuffing out of Donkey Kong. His moves could be stuff from the Wii Party minigames as well. I'm not going to try and act like I've got anything to actually justify this character in the roster other than the fact that it is a massive joke. I'm going to defend this one purely because I think it's funny and I think it's something that Nintendo will definitely do. I don't know, it's just such a different character. I'd definitely chuck him in. I want him in. I think of all of the characters in this entire roster so far, this is the character that I want added in the most. Just because it would be so funny. And even better would be watching all the Ridley fans get butthurt when Party Phil gets in instead of Ridley, because Ridley's never getting in. Sakurai confirmed it, Ridley will never get in. Just give up on it now. Next up, Professor Layton from the Professor Layton series. Those of you who know me know this one is definitely a stretch. I'm definitely convinced he's not getting into the game. But again, in my ideal world, I'd absolutely put him in. People who haven't played the Layton series would just write the character off as a puzzle solver. But if you play the games, you know it's much more than that. I'm not going to go into it more here. I've talked at length in the past about how Professor Layton is awesome and really deserves the slot. All I'm going to say is that if a yokai gets in from Yokai Watch, I'm going to be livid, because of a level 5 representative, Layton is the superior one. And I throw in his arch-rival Descalay in as an alternate costume. Just because they're similar enough in appearance to warrant the swap. Yeah. Next, Phoenix Wright from the Ace Attorney series. This character's on here for the same rationale as the Layton one, but I think it's actually a little more likely. There are so many Ace Attorney games that's not even funny. I'm surprised that this is the franchise Capcom's held onto the longest. And there's precedent for it. Phoenix Wright appeared in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and basically for Smash Bros. I just take his moveset directly from that game. There was an evidence gathering mechanic where you needed to find evidence, the right evidence as well, and then your moves got stronger. Phoenix Wright would be kind of like that character that's really weak until he gets the right evidence, and then he's unbelievably strong, just like he is in the games. I have a few alternate costumes for Phoenix Wright, mainly because I know the Ace Attorney series so well, but I chuck in Miles Edgeworth, Apollo Justice, and Athena Sykes. They'd all play pretty much the same way. Next, Bomberman. I don't believe any character in the current roster has bombs as their primary attack strategy. I know that the Lynx have bombs, and I think Samus has a bomb thing as well. But as far as bombs as an attack method goes, Bomberman would be incredibly unique. He'd lay bombs all over the map and then choose to detonate them, but here's the thing about that. You can lay as many bombs as you want, or as little, depending on how big you want the attack to be. So do you go for the one bomb and explode it immediately to get guaranteed damage? Or do you lay a series of bombs to go for more damage, but potentially get hit in the crossfire yourself? It would be that kind of strategy which is employed in the Bomberman games that I think would be a great fit for Smash Bros. Next, Rayman. Yeah! Of all the third-party characters to add, Rayman seems the most likely to me, for one very important reason. Rayman appears as a trophy in Smash Bros. Wii U, which at the time I kind of dismissed, but looking back, it really doesn't make a lot of sense in my eyes. Why would you ask for the rights to Rayman if you were just going to use him as a trophy? My theory is that they asked for the rights to Rayman to use as a fighter, but got the okay for it way too late to actually implement him, so they just made him a trophy. Looking at it that way, there's no reason why Rayman shouldn't be put in this game, as long as they still want him in. He's iconic enough, people generally know who Rayman is, so yeah, chuck him in, why not? Floating fists flying everywhere, that'd be fun. And the final character I put into my roster is... There's no tension here. There's absolutely no tension here, you all know what this is. If you know me, if you've seen my channel before, you absolutely know who this final character is. Yeah, it's Crash Bandicoot, it's Crash. Here's a bit of context. Back when Smash Bros. Wii U was coming out, I had Layton and Crash in my roster back then as well. But at the time, I thought Layton was far more likely than Crash. This time I think it's the opposite. I think Crash actually has a very good chance of getting in this time, whereas last time it was more of a stretch than anything else. Not only has Crash come back into the limelight with the Insane Trilogy, which did amazingly well, but that game is also now coming to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo clearly respects Crash. They call him a gaming icon in the reveal trailer. I think it's never been more likely than now for Crash to get in. Also, he would be a perfect fit for the game. In terms of cartoon platformers, you'd turn to Crash Bandicoot. He was Sony's answer to Mario and Sonic in the 90s. He was the reason many people got into gaming. He was the reason I got into gaming, and I would love to see him included here. And I'd throw in Coco as an alternate costume. And there you have it. That is my roster. I'll be keeping hold of this throughout the year, and when they announce more characters for the roster, I'll be checking off my progress on this map. Don't get me wrong, I definitely don't think I'll get this 1-to-1, but it's going to be interesting to see how many of these I predict accurately, and the more I get, the better. So, you'll be seeing a lot of this. For now, I'm just going to throw a big old tick on Mario, Link, and the Inkling, because I knew they were getting in. I had them on my list already. There was no way any of those characters weren't getting in. But let me know what you guys think. What are your predictions for Smash Bros. Switch? Which characters do you think will get in, and which characters do you really, really, really want to get in, but no, definitely won't? And once again, I'd like to stress, this is not what I think the roster will end up looking like 100%. This is just, in an ideal world, what I would do. But it's still going to be fun to see how many of these I get right. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm eagerly looking forward to the next Nintendo Direct now. Or the next reveal from Smash Bros. In general. I don't know when that will be, but the sooner the better. But thank you very much for watching, guys. You can click up here to look at my last speculation video when I talk about Splatoon and the Inklings, and you can click down here to watch my reaction to the last Nintendo Direct before this one, because again, I didn't film my reaction to the previous one. I just didn't think there would be anything noteworthy in it. Shows what I know. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Alex Cuff. This has been Off the Cuff, and I'll see you next time.